This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Social media influencer Lexi D. Best among 3 killed in Trelawny crash. The police have confirmed that social media influencer Lexi Williams, 20, is among 3 people killed in a motor vehicle crash on the North Coast Highway in Spring Hill, Trelawny. Williams, popularly known as Lexi D. Best, was being transported by 25-year-old Kenroy Smith of Hague in the parish when the Toyota Mark X motorcar in which they were traveling crashed into a Toyota Voxy. The social media influencer, who is from Rio Bueno, Trelawny, had just been picked up by Smith. They were en route to an event called Cookout Vibes in Rio Bueno Square. The driver of the Voxy, Chris Codner, 30, of Exchange in St. Anne, also died. 3 tourists who were occupants of the Voxy have been hospitalized. Fire razes homes in Maxfield Avenue. A huge fire has gutted several wooden houses along Bircham Lane in the Maxfield Avenue area. The fire has left several people homeless, including the elderly. It is believed that the fire started by an act of arson. Residents reported that the fire was lit by an occupant who was engaged in a quarrel with a family member. Chinese wholesaler shot in Portmore. A male Chinese wholesaler who operates a popular establishment along the Helsha Main Road was shot and injured yesterday afternoon. The corporate communication unit confirmed there was a shooting yesterday afternoon, but the details were sketchy. There was an incident of shooting with intent and a robbery with aggravation along the Helsha Main Road at 1:48 p.m. The business owner was shot, but he was not killed, a representative of the CCU told the news. Curfew imposed in sections of the St. Andrew South Division. A curfew has been imposed in sections of the St. Andrew South Division beginning at 6 p.m. Friday, March 18, and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. Sunday, March 20. The boundaries of the curfew are as follows: north along Wellington Road from Waltham Park Road to Maxfield Avenue, east along Maxfield Avenue from Wellington Road to Spanish Town Road, south along Spanish Town Road from Maxfield Avenue to Waltham Park Road, west along Waltham Park Road from Spanish Town Road to Wellington Road. During the hours of the curfew, people within the boundaries of the curfew are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. Government to revise urban renewal incentive program to facilitate affordable houses. The government is to revise its urban renewal incentive program to get more developers to construct affordable houses in Kingston and St. Andrew. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says very few developers have applied for the urban renewal tax relief, which was aimed at spurring development in and around downtown Kingston and lower St. Andrew. He says areas like Central Kingston, East Kingston, and Southeast St. Andrew are a developer's dream in theory, given their proximity to economic centers, public utilities, and transportation. But he says issues such as security have led to developers sticking to New Kingston and Upper St. Andrew.
There is clearly a need for a more coordinated and strategic approach to stimulating and attracting private capital in areas in need of urban development. It can't be, Madam Speaker, that all the investment is going uptown. And as it goes uptown, we end up in social conflict. So we have to do something proactive and instrumental to help guide what is really a market failure. We have a clear pathway for capital expenditure that we can program capital expenditure to target areas in which we are trying to stimulate the renewal. So the government will therefore revisit the zoned areas under the tax incentive program for urban renewal with a view to including certain selected areas which are not now covered but aligned and in proximity to the government's capital expenditure program to improve infrastructure. The requirements, for the program will be reviewed to reduce unnecessary bureaucracy and the government will use its powers under the various legislations where necessary to acquire parcels of land for the purpose of renewing and developing communities of affordable housing in urban areas.
Wasinko employee dies in St. Elizabeth crash. An employee of Wasinko died on Friday morning in a collision on the Peppermint Road in St. Elizabeth. He has been identified as a Chevron Tugman of Old Harbor Bay, St. Catherine. Mr. Tugman, who was driving a bus about 9 o'clock, hit an embankment and a tree. He was ejected from the vehicle and died at the scene. Constable Kennard Johnson of the Santa Cruz Traffic Department is concerned about the number of crashes that have occurred in St. Elizabeth in the last few days. He said this latest incident is the 11th fatal crash in the parish since the start of the year and the 5th in the last 9 days. He appealed for motorists to adhere to the speed limit since speeding has been the contributing factor in these crashes.
This fatal collision is the 11th fatal collision in the parish of St. Elizabeth since 2022 and the 5th fatal collision in the last 9 days. I'm appealing to the road users to adhere to the speed zones as we continue to realize that speeding is the contributing factor of these fatal collisions.
Man accused of defrauding bank remanded. A man who is accused of defrauding a financial institution of more than $250,000 was remanded when he appeared in court on Friday. It is alleged that Peter Folin lodged forged checks at a bank in the corporate area. He later withdrew $253,366. Mr. Folin is charged with uttering forged documents and the simple larceny. He is scheduled to return to court on April 20. Man accused of breaking into Juicy said he was hungry, court told. A man accused of being one of 3 persons who attempted to break into a popular patty shop on Conson Spring Road in St. Andrew reportedly told the police when he was held that he was hungry. "Me did hungry. What me did for the officer? Stay a woman dead for hungry?" read the prosecutor from the statement amid laughter from persons in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Friday. The hilarious caution statement was attributed to accused Cahill Grant. Grant and his co-accused Nico Richards and Markian Slater were each granted bail by Chief Parish Judge Chester Crooks in the sum of $300,000 on a charge of shop-breaking and attempted larceny on condition that they reported to the Conson Spring Police Station on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays and abided by a 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. curfew order. They were also warned not to contact or interfere with any of the witnesses in the matter. The accused were granted bail following a recommendation from the police that they be given bail with conditions. The court heard that the men were picked up by the police along Whitehall Avenue in St. Andrew on January 23 at 1 a.m. after police had received the information about an attempted break-in at a Juicy Patty's outlet along Conson Spring Road. They were reportedly pointed out by a security guard after they were arrested and brought back to the location on the night of the incident. When cautioned, Grant reportedly told the police that he was hungry. The others made no comment. The men are to return to court on May 11. Proposed firearm ban for accused domestic abusers triggers debate. Lawmakers locked horns on Thursday over a provision in the Firearms Act 2022 that bars a person charged with an offense involving domestic violence or has a history of domestic violence from obtaining a firearm license. The proposed law also empowers the board of the Firearm Licensing Authority to revoke a firearm authorization if the holder is charged with a domestic violence offense. Fitz Jackson, Member of Parliament for St. Catherine South, expressed a reservation about the provision that excludes a person charged with a domestic violence offense. He argued that to charge someone is synonymous with an allegation which suggests that the person might not be guilty of the offense. Jackson said the standard for refusal should be a conviction. Mere charge, we know many cases go to court, and after being charged it does not go anywhere because it can't stand up, Jackson said. He suggested that it would not be fair to deny someone a firearm license on the basis of an allegation. Committee Chairman and Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang made it clear that he did not intend to dilute the law for men who are charged with a domestic violence offense. He insisted that any report of any individual displaying elements of domestic violence must be refused a license. I don't need a conviction. Once he is reported to have abused whether his wife, his girlfriend, or his child, and there is reasonable information and a report, then he is denied. The National Security Minister said that domestic violence in Jamaica remained a very serious problem and a strong message must be sent to the perpetrators. He reasoned that there was no right to bear arms in Jamaica and he could not allow an alleged domestic abuser to hold a firearm even for a day. Committee member Senator Peter Bunting cautioned that the legislation was cast too wide and could disqualify many applicants who have been accused of alleged wrongdoing by persons with malicious intent. Bunting told the committee that when he was Minister of National Security, there was a case in which a spouse told an investigator that her partner had a temper and therefore should not be issued a firearm license. He explained that when the applicant appealed the decision, the spouse later told the panel that she made up the story because she did not feel comfortable with a firearm in the house. What you are inviting is just arbitrary and capricious decisions at the level of the FLA. The reason we have a review board is that issues like this can be tested, he said. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahoo Fort cautioned that the call to adjust the provision in the bill might be interpreted as a lowering of the standard and a lowering of the bar to just free up the thing so any man who wants the firearm can just get it, forgetting the problem that the firearm poses. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.